Today we're starting a new series on my channel called Freelance Friday. It's not going to be every Friday, but anytime I have a video idea that pertains to freelancing, it'll be here on a Friday. So I decided to kick off Freelance Friday with just a general Q&A type of situation and just sort of run through everything, but in a general way. And then whatever topics you guys are most interested in hearing more in depth on, I can make specific videos about. So I took to Instagram and asked you guys what you had questions about, and I have taken some notes here on my phone. We'll see from there. So the biggest question is, and what you might be wondering if you're here, is what do I actually do for freelance? So I am a freelance social media manager, coordinator, content creator, etc., etc. Pretty much any sort of social media marketing thing that you could do, I freelance for. I had quite a few questions about whether I have multiple clients, and I do. However, I work for one company specifically, which is a digital marketing company, and then they assign me clients. So I didn't necessarily go out and find all of these different clients. I found this one job at a marketing agency and took it from there. Right now, I manage the social media for 4 different accounts, and then I do ad management for 3 different accounts. I do email marketing for 3 different accounts. And then on top of that, I do web design projects when we have them come up, as well as client acquisition at events and things like that. And the list really does go on and on. I'm sure I do a lot more than that. I just can't even think of everything that I do because my job varies greatly. So I want to talk to you guys about how to actually find the work. There are tons of resources out there for freelancers. My personal favorite, however, is to go through a site like Indeed or Glassdoor or LinkedIn. But there's also things like freelancer.com. I've never personally used that, but I do know that it exists. And you can certainly just type into Google how to find freelance jobs, and I bet a bunch of websites will pop up. So both of the freelance jobs that I have had actually came from Indeed. So that's the one that I'm most familiar with, although I do apply for jobs on Glassdoor and things like that as well. I really like Indeed though, because I find that they have a wide variety of options, and really the best way to go about finding a freelance job is to type in something like social media manager remote. And most freelance jobs will be remote, which means that you work from home or from wherever you really want. So I work 90% of my job from home, and then there are certain events that I have to go to, certain clients that I go in to help them get content. And then occasionally I get asked to come into our office for meetings or just to generally check in on each project and be able to be there with my boss and sort of go through everything. Another question that pertains to clients was, do you have to be located in the same place as them to do the freelance work? And the answer is yes and no, depending on what your job is. If you are just running their social media, meaning you're just posting for them, responding to comments, things like that, you don't have to be in the same location as your client. However, if you're responsible for actually getting the content, then you probably have to be in the same place because you have to go and meet with that client in person. As an example, we work with a doctor based in Beverly Hills, and I go in about once a month, once every other month to get content for him so that I have it stockpiled and I can post it daily. And then we also have clients that are based in Australia, so a totally different time zone, literally like an opposite time zone, and they send me content and then I manage whatever I manage for them. So it really just depends on the specifics of your position. Some people want to hire someone in the same city as them just in case they need them for hands-on projects, and some people may not need that at all. Next up, I want to touch on how often I actually work, which is pretty often. I do it daily, Monday through Friday, and then occasionally a Saturday or Sunday as well, or both, depending on what has to get done, what deadlines we have, what our clients have going on. For example, with our Australian clients, they may have a sale that starts on Monday, but Monday in Australia is actually Sunday afternoon here in Los Angeles. So occasionally I have to work on a Sunday to make sure that everything gets taken care of for their Monday sale. Or occasionally I take a call on a Sunday with one of the Australian clients since it's Monday there. It really just depends, and that's the thing with freelance, is that you work your own hours, you decide when you work, and then from there you sort of figure it out with deadlines and stuff like that. I don't prefer to work on a Sunday, but if there is a deadline coming up on Monday in Australia, Sunday sometimes requires a little bit of work. But aside from specific deadlines and things like that, it really is up to you the hours that you work. Sometimes I'm out all day long doing other stuff for my YouTube channel or whatever, so I'll come home and like start my freelance work at 6 p.m. and work until like 10 on that stuff. I'm currently working about 16 to 18 hours a week on my freelance work, so that's pretty much exactly a part-time job, which is great because it still leaves me time for my YouTube and all of this stuff that I do, which is yet another form of income for me. Speaking of, I actually uploaded a video with all of my streams of income a few weeks ago, so I'm gonna make sure to have that linked down below for you guys. You can go and check that out. I think it's a pretty helpful video if you're trying to figure out multiple streams of income for yourself. Shameless self-plug. So the next biggest question is, how much do I get paid? How much should I be paid? How do you decide on your rate? All of those things, and the answer to that really varies. So the way that my work works is that I work for an hourly rate. So basically what I do is I have a timesheet where I keep track of how many hours I work that day, and then a secondary timesheet where I actually track how much time I spent specifically on each project. For example, I spent 15 minutes posting this, I spent 10 minutes doing this, an hour doing this, and I track all of that, write it all down so I can keep track of how much time I'm actually spending on each project. And then at the end of each month, I send my timesheet to my boss and he pays me my hourly rate for how many hours I actually worked. So the other side of that is that you may not be working for a specific marketing firm like I do, in which case you probably want to meet with your client and discuss a monthly rate that they're going to pay you with these responsibilities in mind. Now the price for that really varies on how much time you think you're going to spend on the project that you have for them. Consider the size of their company and what they can actually physically pay, and then try to settle on a rate that seems fair. I highly recommend just sending them some sort of spreadsheet that says, okay, here's tier 1, and I'll be doing posting on your social media Monday through Friday, posting on your story Monday through Friday, and managing comments. And for that, it's this rate. And then you can say, or you can do tier 2, which includes everything from tier 1 plus blah, 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 and you have that rate. Or tier 3, which includes everything from tier 2 and blah, 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 and you have that rate. And then they can sort of decide based on their budget what they're looking for and what they can actually get from you. In my experience, that's the best way to go about doing that. And you also want to think about how much experience you have. Do you have experience actually managing other people's social media? If not, you probably want to go for a smaller rate to start because you don't have the stats behind you that show that you actually know what you're doing. Even if you do, people don't know that for sure. There's no way for them to know. So you might want to start at a smaller rate and say, you know what, this is a month-to-month situation and you have the right at any month to end your services with me, and I have the right at any month to up the amount that I am asking for, and then at that point they can decide if they want to continue working with you or not. Which sort of leads me into a question that I got, which is how to find reliable clients. So as I said, I work for a marketing firm, so it's a little different for me, but if I was working on my own, what I would do is set up exactly what I just said with the different tiers and something that says that they can end it anytime they want and you can change your rates anytime you want, which then they can decide whether they want to continue working with you or not. And then that acts as a contract of sorts. You don't have to have a lawyer type up a whole formal contract necessarily. You just want to lay out the terms, what you're going to do, what they are going to provide you, when they can end the contract, when you can end the contract, and then have 2 lines where each of you sign, and that works as a way of keeping people reliable. Because if for whatever reason they're not paying you on time, they're sort of ghosting you, you can send them an email and say, hey, I've attached the agreement that both of us signed and this is what we agreed on. So don't just hope that your client is reliable, make them reliable, make them sign something, because you don't want to be put in a situation. It's very easy for freelancers to get screwed over. Anyone could just ghost you at any moment. So you don't want to put yourself in that situation. You want to make sure that you have a solid contract in place. Another big question that I got is about resume writing. Now, I think that I want to do a whole separate video about resume writing, maybe as my next Freelance Friday. Let me know if that would be helpful for you guys down below. But I'll run you through some quick basics of writing a resume. So obviously on the resume, you want to have your name, you want to have a little blurb about you, but not like just random facts about you, but you want to have things that pertain to the job you're looking for. Somewhere on there you want to have your title, like mine says social media manager as my title. You also want to have a special skills section. For my job specifically, that means writing programs that I'm proficient in, like Final Cut Pro, Photoshop, different analytical tools, things like that, Facebook ad manager. All of those things can go into your special skills. So think about what skills you have that pertains specifically to the job that you're looking to get. And then of course your job experience. Now this part can be really tricky if you're sort of going in without much job experience. If you graduated from college, you probably did some sort of internship, and if you didn't do some sort of internship, maybe look into it. Keep your waitressing side job, side hustle, whatever that is, and also work an internship. That way you have some experience to put on your resume. I know there is nothing worse than working for free, and for the most part, I do not believe that people should work for free. However, if you have absolutely no experience, it's probably best to get a little bit of experience that you can put on your resume that's going to attract people. Try to meet people in your area who do the same thing. Girlboss has a really great network of people like that. They have a whole website. It's basically like LinkedIn, but only for women, and you can meet tons of people in your area who are doing similar things to you. Meet them, see if they have connections. Just talk to them about what sorts of things they did to get started. I was in a pretty unique position because I was able to put my YouTube channel and what I've amassed here onto my resume as some sort of experience in social media. But you'll see, honestly, a lot of job applications, specifically in social media, ask for your Instagram link. So make sure that your Instagram looks nice. It's not just random stuff. Show a little bit of what you can do for yourself personally, and that can definitely help you score a job. And honestly, all experience is good experience. Even if you've worked at a restaurant for the last 5 years, put that on your resume. I know it doesn't necessarily pertain to what you're doing, but it does show that you know how to work in a work environment. You show up, you're committed because you've worked there for 5 years. It just shows that, you know what, you're not just this random person who never did anything with their lives and are now asking this person for money. So what I recommend is putting that tiny bit of experience that you have, even if it's not relevant, onto your resume, and then trying to score some sort of internship situation that you can also put onto your resume. Ask someone, a friend, if you can like take photos for them. You have something that you can show in your portfolio, and that will all definitely be a big help to you. And there you have it. That is everything that I'm going to share about freelancing for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave more questions down below for me. Anything that you want to dive into more specifics on, I'd be happy to. Let me know if you're interested in the resume video, because I think that that would be a super helpful one. And let's do it. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you in my next one.